Welcome to Coleman Report Live. I'm Bob Coleman. We're talking Main Street small business lenders who hope it grows, specifically SBA 7A 504 secondary market, the first of the month. Bob Judge is somewhere around there. Stealth Bob, CEO, co-founder, Government Loan Solutions. Bob, always good to have you. Ken Rosenthal, live from an undisclosed location in the Pacific. What island are you on, Ken? Ken is
Hawaii.
Do you hear him, Lance? I don't hear him.
The island of Kauai.
Kauai. Oh, very nice. And of course, Lance is here. Hey, guys, thanks for joining us. Let's go right to
6,000 miles away.
Let's go right to the polls. Number one, SBA 7A prices have increased or decreased in the last 2 months or remained the same. Bob, oh, look at that.
Oh, my.
Bob, what's the correct answer?
The answer is decreased.
Well, you had a 1 in 3 shot of getting it right. Quickly, Bob, what's going on with the 7A secondary market?
Well, right now, the market is using, because the SBA is still waiving their fees, so the market is still trading, with an extra 55 basis points in yield to the investor. The market's down about a point across the board from its highs a couple months ago. Big part of that is, one, the anticipation of the move back to fees come October 1st, so people are kind of, backing off a little bit. Two, the change in the fiscal and transfer agent, which today's day one for Guidehouse. Coleman is no longer the fiscal and transfer agent. They've been doing it since 1985 or something. Yeah. So a lot of uncertainty around that. They haven't even, today's the start of when they're going to start settling loans probably in the next week or so. So we shall see how that goes. That's, historically these, the 504 being an example, was a bit troublesome at the start. We'll see whether there's any, problems with this one. So it's a new 1086 also. There's also a new 1086, which has to be dealt with, by lenders and investors. So, in this kind of situation, people will kind of back off, waiting for things to kind of get back to normal.
Let's break it down. What fees are you talking about?
For this fiscal year, current fiscal year, the SBA stopped collecting the 55 basis points for all loans that were authorized this fiscal year. So those loans have an extra 55 basis points of interest to the investor. So that's worth, 2 points in the marketplace. So, that the market, when that was announced way back in the beginning of this fiscal year, the market immediately went up, a couple of points. So now that it doesn't sound like they're going to renew that, so the SBA will start collecting fees on loans authorized as of 10/1 this year. The market should drop, a couple of points for that.
And
the market is kind of.
I'm sorry, Bob. I just want to clarify. So I'm sure there's people out don't know what we're talking about. Those are the fees paid by the lender to the fiscal transfer agent or to SBA. It doesn't make any difference. Those are fees paid by the lender.
Fiscal transfer agent collects it, but it's to the SBA for the guarantee. It's what pays for the guarantee. So the 55 basis points is collected by the fiscal and transfer agent and then sent over to the SBA.
Now, for loans after October 1st, as you said, it's uncertain. The 55 basis points may be reinstated. But what happens if a loan was made today? Is it forever?
Today, you for the life of that loan, you don't have to pay the 55.
Okay.
As of 10/1, unless they extend it, you will have to pay the 55. So the investor gets less interest, which means he's going to pay less for it.
Yeah. Okay, very good. Talk to me about Guidehouse. What's the background of the transition? Why? I remember back in the days, it used to be Bradford Trust. So that was.
Well, I mean, this is Coleman is the only one who's ever done it for 7A. So I don't know if Bradford Trust was an old name for that, but put away. Coleman's been doing it for quite a long time. So Guidehouse has been working on this transition for a couple of years now. They extended the contract for Coleman due to COVID and things like that. So we'll see whether that time was, was worthwhile for Guidehouse to put it together. This is the kind of thing where you got to, we'll see what happens as, as loans begin to settle.
Why did SBA make the change?
It's I really don't honestly know why it did, and I'd rather not. I'd rather not, think, offer reasons why.
You take away all the fun. Oh, well, go ahead.
So I'll let SBA answer that if they choose to do so. But well, the bottom line is it is changing hands, and we shall see how it goes. These things rarely go smoothly, and that's not to say the Guidehouse isn't prepared to do it, but it takes lenders and investors time to deal with a different FDA. Also, at the same time, they're changing to 1086, which is a big thing. There's a new document out there that also causes friction. So, we shall see how long it takes for all these changes to kind of work their way through the system.
Lance, how are the changes affecting your shop? The changes, as Bob said, are effective today.
Well, not a lot at this point, but 1502 reporting, that's going to be the first 1502 report submitted to Guidehouse will occur in the next several days. And so we don't really feel the impact yet. And it's just like Bob said, anytime there's a change, there's some transitional issues that may come up, and we just don't know at this point. Right now, we're not sure what the impact is and what the issues are.
Fair enough.
And there may be none.
What does the lender, Bob, you mentioned a new 1086. How significant are those changes? Or are there any changes?
Oh, yeah, people already, that's as of today as well. People have already started, when they sell a loan over the last week or so, have been using the new one. So people are already started to send the new one to Guidehouse. So the old one, pretty much as of today, is already obsolete. So people have to use the new one. Lenders have been waiting and not selling over the last week or so as much as they normally do, because it's a kind of wait and see attitude. Get ready for the for this new 1086. Also, making sure that they're filling it out correctly and all those kinds of things. So people just kind of reluctant to send a ton of loans into the market because they want to kind of get a feel for how this whole thing is going to shake out. So in Guidehouse, as a lot of the Coleman people moved from Coleman to Guidehouse, so they have people who have experience, which is a good thing. And now it's just getting all their systems aligned, getting all their workflows going, and also, of course, dealing with the new 1086. So we'll see how smoothly everything goes. Again, as Lance mentioned, there's going to probably be a couple of hiccups here and there, as there always are in this kind of situation. So we'll just kind of deal with them as they come.
Bob, you're the CFO of a bank that wants to sell a loan. Do you sell it and it's ready to go as of today? Do you wait till the new fiscal year for the government? Do you wait till the calendar year, or do you sell it today? And what do you do?
Well, I think when you're talking one loan, it's probably, you could sell it today. You might as well start getting your systems aligned for the new 1086 on one loan. I wouldn't sell 50, because that would be if you get it wrong and you have to redo 50 of these things. If you have one loan, two loans, it's probably not you can go ahead and sell today. If nothing else, it'll start to get you your internal systems aligned with the new 1086 and everything kind of getting going. So small numbers of loans make sense. Large numbers, you probably should hold off a bit till you get a handle on how the process works.
Real quick, Bob, and then we're gonna bring Ken into the conversation on 504. Give me a quote on 10 years, say prime plus one, and 25 years prime plus one. How much of a difference are they on the price?
Well, the difference, We use 2 3/4 as sort of the benchmark, which is a little bit, because that's the more common scenario. And there's probably about almost a 6-point difference between 10 and 25 year that probably would hold for pretty much any gross margin. But just to give you some idea, so as Joe sends everything out, we use the 2 3/4 against that benchmark. That's the easiest one to track.
Well, hang around. Let's go to the second poll question. And Joseph or Michael, all that feedback. I appreciate it. There we go. Number 2, SBA secondary 504 prices. The same question. And there we go. Ken Rosenthal. What's the answer? See, when I say Ken Rosenthal, that's time for you to interject us.
The same.
The same. Care to elaborate?
First of all, I want to say, can you hear me okay? Because I also have it on cell phone. Okay.
Yeah, does Hawaii even have the internet? I don't know what's.
Yeah, we do, but sometimes, we fade in and out a little bit. By the way, we call ourselves the wholesale market only because it differentiates between 7A and 504.
Okay.
Makes it a little bit easier. But on the wholesale market, it really depends on the individual lender credit. So the bank that sells into the secondary or wholesale market is the one that determines it. So what we buy at is based on the rate in which the borrower is getting. So there's always a par rate, and then they increase it to make money depending on what the market will bear. So really the determining factor is competition. There's not a wholesale bunch of buyers like there is on the 7A market. There's really only 3 players nationally, being CIT, Morgan Stanley, and Zions. And CIT is not national, but Zions and Morgan are. And basically ours prices are the same.
Right. And you're affiliated with Morgan Stanley. Okay, good. Okay.
Correct. And our pricing is the same. So all of us price off of now we use the TCM. And we also have a floor on the TCM. So the TCM, for example, the 10-year is below our floor. It's like at 1.3, I think, today, and our floor is 1.5. So that's why we're the same, because the floor is still in effect.
Define TCM.
Treasury constant maturity.
Okay.
U.S. Treasury constant maturity, which you can go to the H15 to find it off the Fed site, which is actually federalreserve.gov/releases /H15.
What's the base of the base? Thank you.
Hey, Main Street wants to know.
All right, I'm sorry I stepped all over your answer. Please continue.
That's right, but the bottom line is there's a floor on the index. So the floor is 150. So we're at 150 as a floor. So for example, our 25-year fixed rate starts at 4% because 250 is par over the floor of 150. Lance can do that math.
Yeah.
Right? So it's at 4. So as they increase pricing, they'll earn more premium. And we don't expect the index to go above 150 for a while.
Okay.
So the economy really starts.
I assume these loans are priced differently than 7A. 7A is based on a guarantee, but 504, you're more credit underwriting. Do you care about NAICS codes? And you mentioned the credit of the bank. So how does that all play into it?
So the 504 is 100% credit driven. So we're looking at the collateral, we're looking at the FICO score, we're looking at the debt coverage, and it's really the stronger credits that are going 504 typically. Like there isn't a borrower that I've ever done that would take a 7A because they're not going to take a prime plus 2 3/4 variable rate, which is at 6 variable versus 4 fixed. So these are very strong credit borrowers. And typically it's a community bank that's competing against a large national bank, and they use our pricing to allow them to be able to compete with the large national banks. So it allows the community banks, which really is Main Street, to access capital at very good rates for their very best clients.
Very good. Difference in pricing between these loans and the refi, the debt refi?
Identical.
Identical, okay.
Yeah, and the debt refi program is going to be a real boost. Not that we need it per se, because the market's crazy in 504. I mean, as you know, 504 is running out of money. It'll be probably anything that's in the center now may or may not get funded because they're going to run out of money this week. But they're still going to get.
I'm sorry.
They're still going to get decisioned. By the way, you probably talked about this on another show. So it's not going to affect how we operate because we're still going to fund the first mortgage as long as there's a decision by SBA, and there will be with an email. So we'll still fund first mortgages to close this month, business as usual.
You do interim financing? What happens if we have a transaction and we are going to hold off till October? Do you do an interim type financing transaction?
No, but on a 504, there's always an interim loan to cover the SBA portion. So there's a first and a bridge. So that's covered. So the SBA is not funding anyway right away. There's always a 45-day delay. So the fact that they're running out of money is really up to us as lenders to have the trust that a loan has been decisioned, and therefore we operate under that basically full faith and credit of the U.S. government. We believe in our government.
Very good. Very good.
I will mention that 504, there's a lot of questions from the 7A side that have come to me. For example, the 504 side, 7As are worried because now 504 can refi 7A.
Right.
And there's been a lot of talk, well, what's going to happen? Our premium's going to go down to 7A because all our portfolio. And the answer is no, because the amount of refis is going to be small. Because the key factor is they have to qualify, number one, for 504, and at least 85% of the original proceeds has to be 504 eligible.
And I would imagine.
And as Bob can talk about, there's a lot of mixed.
Yeah, and you can refi through a conventional loan, right, Bob Judge?
Yeah, this is not a big deal for 7A. As Ken mentioned, it's going to be few and far between, and it's not going to have any impact on 85 billion outstanding in 7A or whatever the number is. So I don't see this as an issue.
Well, most of your 7A loans are not. Ken made an important point.
There would be a lot of 504s refining 504s.
Oh yeah, but on the 7A. How many 7A loans have 85% of the loan proceeds used for eligible 504 assets? There are a few, but not many.
Ken, same question. Same question. I'm the CFO of a bank. Do I sell my 504 premium today? Do I do it after the government fiscal year, October 1? Or do I wait to the calendar year?
Completely different world. Because on a 504, we fund most of the time at close of escrow as a table fund.
Okay.
So if you're going to do that, then it doesn't matter. You're going to fund when escrow closes. If you're going to book a loan and sell it later as a loan purchase, that purely depends on when you want your premium income. Do you want it now? Do you want it later?
In January.
Purely up to you. But 95% of the deals we do are table fund where we close at close of escrow.
Okay.
So we fund at escrow.
Good. Chris has an interesting question, Bob Judge. I don't know the answer. Do you? Are lenders exempt from splitting premium? Are some lenders exempt from splitting premiums on certain SBA lending products?
That I do not know. I do not know the answer to that question.
Okay.
Well, why they would be.
Yeah, Lance, have you heard anything
I don't.
about that? Yeah.
My general inclination is the answer is no, but I'm not 100% certain on that, and I can't think of a legitimate reason why some lenders would be exempt from that.
Well, maybe, yeah. No, I'm not going to speculate, but yeah, I haven't heard of that either. Well, very good. A couple of housekeeping things. Number one, there is FTA training put on by SBA and Guidehouse. I think it's today from September 1st from 4 to 5 Eastern. So look into that if that is of interest to you. And we will be reporting on tomorrow the results of the House hearing. Ken, thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. I know it's a little early there. Tell everyone what time it is.
And what time?
All right. Well, obviously, Ken, thank you very much. Great, mute him now. Mahalo. Lance, thank you for joining us. Bob, good to talk to you as always. And thank you all for joining us today for supporting America's Main Street, one entrepreneur at a time.
Have a great day.